Today we'll be having a look at the Polestar shares. Now before we get this video started, allow me to declare that this video is not financial advice. It's strictly for educational purposes. Now ladies and gents, Polestar has been crashing lately. That's without a doubt. The share price have been crashing lately. In fact, the price has only started going back up in the last 10 minutes. As I'm making this video, just before the closing hours of the market. Over the last 24 hours, the share price have actually fallen to $6.18. And as you can see, within the last half hour, the price has been triggering an upwards trend from $6.18 to $6.48. That's actually really impressive. That's a really impressive recovery. But for a moment, we did fall at $6.18. And we won't see those prices many times for Polestar. We just won't, unfortunately. So this was a great opportunity for most, and a lot of people took that opportunity and they ran with it. And I can't discount them. But Polestar has been crashing within the last 5 days. The share price have gone from $8 to as low as $6. What's happening? What is happening? That's what's on everyone's mind. Our immediate attention is the fact that they just reported the revenue, their first half of the year revenue. And it was rather impressive, to be honest. It's been up over 95% year over year. Quite impressive. But the problem is, once we get into those finer details, we realize that due to the fact that Polestar has made $1 billion in the first half, that is not necessarily a good projection. That is not necessarily meaning that the company is making that much money in profit. That's not what that means. That's just revenue. Now in gross profit is actually $53.4 million in gross profit. That's compared to last year, same time, same price period, it was $35.8 million in gross profits. The revenues have almost doubled. So this was taken very negatively by the market, obviously, and for good reasons. Simply put, $53.4 million in gross profits is not enough to impress the EV market, not at this stage anyway. Now, Polestar is still on projection to produce 50,000 vehicles this year. Next year, they're going to produce 100,000. That's at least what they're aiming for. Now, because the share price of Polestar has been falling quite heavily, this means that the market cap is currently at 14 billion in market cap. Remember now, the IPO was like 21, 22 billion. It is not just Polestar. In the last 30 days, there's a lot of EV companies that have been losing value. NIO is one of these companies. Li Automotive is one of these companies. Lucid, XPeng, Polestar, Fisker, Nikola, Canoe, I'm not too surprised. Arrival, again, not too surprised. Lordstown, no one cares about Lordstown. Faraday Future, some people care about Faraday Future, not a lot though. They've been falling as well. The entire EV market is not looking too good. There's like probably 10% of the EV companies out there that are probably in the green in the last 30 days. Tesla is one of them and Rivian is one of them. Now Rivian hasn't really done anything special in my opinion. Rivian has actually been consolidating for the last 15 days. But here's why Rivian is looking good. Here's why they're currently sitting in the second place in the world for an EV company. They're the second biggest EV company by market cap. How crazy is that? But the only reason why they're in this position is because NIO, Li Automotive, and Lucid, they've lost value. This means that Rivian moves up a spot. They actually moved up a lot of spots. It wasn't too long ago that Rivian was in number 5 or number 6 of top EV companies by market cap. Now, obviously, you can see that it's not the same. The night really does change fast. But there's also been really good news around the Polestar company. They sold out their top 500 Polestar 6 Roadster vehicles. They've sold them out, the LA Concept Editions. That was really impressive. They also announced that this car is going into full production in 2026. That was awesome as well. There's been plenty of positive news coming out of the Polestar company lately. And to be honest, this hit for Polestar, I was expecting it. I was expecting it because I understood that this is how the market works. It happens to every share. It happens to every EV share. You know, they don't just go to an IPO and eventually it's just positive for entirety. No, there's going to be periods of time when the price fall down to an unbelievable price. But people should not be complaining. Because if you are complaining that Polestar is cheap, then you need to consider why you're even investing in the first place. Because I thought the idea was to invest in good companies when they're undervalued. Good companies for a fair price. Good companies for even better than fair price. It's just logical. But a lot of people are already panicking, and there's no reason to panic. It's not just Polestar. The entire market, the entire stocks and shares market is not doing too good right now. And Polestar happens to be an EV company. Now you might be thinking, well, Tesla is doing fantastic. The problem is, that's Tesla. Tesla's been around since the early 2000s. And Tesla is simply the best EV company. They're producing over 1 million vehicles a year. On their current projections, they're looking to produce at least 1.3, 1.4 million vehicles this year. By the way, that's more than Audi produced last year. That's more than BMW produced last year. That's more than Mercedes produced last year. Tesla is producing more vehicles than BMW, Mercedes, and Audi. Consider that for a moment. So I'd say, yeah, just keep that in mind. And those are all EV vehicles by Tesla, by the way. And these are not cheap vehicles. You know, Mercedes, Audi, BMW, they make vehicles for $25,000. It's easy for them to sell a lot of vehicles. It is not easy for Tesla to sell a lot of vehicles. Tesla vehicles are going for $40,000, £45,000, 50,000 euros. They're not cheap vehicles. So for Tesla to be selling over 1 million vehicles a year, it's seriously impressive. You cannot expect new companies like Polestar, XPeng, Lucid, Li Auto, NIO, Rivian to do the same. Li Auto and NIO has been in the game for a few years now, but they're only just starting to branch out into Europe, looking to branch out into America. And we're a long way from making EV vehicles seriously environmentally friendly, because you got to consider right now EV vehicles, they're not too environmentally friendly. To produce these vehicles, it's not environmentally friendly, but eventually we can make these processes better over time to make it more environmentally friendly. That's the long-term goal. However, if we're not achieving that goal, then what's the point in even building EV vehicles? Got to keep that in mind. Now, Polestar, on the other hand, producing at low numbers, but at least Polestar is considering the gratifications of their production. Apart from the gross profit, Polestar is looking really good right now. Now, to be honest, I'm not worried about Polestar producing 50,000 vehicles before the end of this year. I'm actually thinking about next year. Will they be able to produce 100,000 vehicles? How will the production of the Polestar 3 happen? They're producing these vehicles in America. They're producing these vehicles in China to ship them to Europe and around the world. But how will it go? Will it be positive? Will it be negative? That's what I'm thinking about. Next year for Polestar is perhaps one of their most important steps in the EV market. They will have two vehicles, an SUV and a sedan, giving people more options. And the Americans, they love SUVs. So there's a lot of positive things on the way for Polestar. But right now, the share price is crashing because Polestar happens to be a victim of the current market. It's not all their fault. They're producing great numbers. They're producing more numbers than Rivian. Polestar is producing more vehicles than Rivian. So why is Rivian more valuable? Keep that in mind. So it's not all about value. Sometimes you have to look beneath that. Sometimes you got to look beneath all of that facade. Polestar is also having better revenue and better gross profits than Rivian. Rivian is losing. At least Polestar is producing vehicles at a profit. The profit might be small, incredibly small, but at least they can make a profit. And let me assure you, it is good that Polestar profits are small. All this tells me is that Polestar is using this money, all the money that they're making, that $1 billion that they're making, they're just using it to reinvest into their business. Instead of paying the tax man millions and billions of dollars, they're using it to reinvest. And when the tax man is ready to tax Polestar, guess what? They've already used up majority of the money. So you can't really tax them for money that they've already used up to improve their business. They're just improving their business. And that's what I like to see. That's what I love to see. So I'm not really worried about the gross profits being this low. I don't mind the gross profits being low for the next decade. I'm thinking a decade above for Polestar. As an investor, I'm thinking what's going to happen 1 decade from now, 10 years from now. Polestar will be okay 10 years from now. But for the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a lot of struggle. But I like to see Polestar investing their money, their revenues back into the business to make the business better. That's all I care about for now. That is all I care about. So I hope you understood what I had to say. Hope you understood things from my perspective a little bit. I'm thinking more long term. I'm thinking decades in the future, to be honest. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. And of course, I will see you in our next video. Subscribe, leave a like, and leave a comment. Thank you for watching until the end.